So the fight over President Trump's cabinet choices is turning up the heat in the Senate, usually known for more formal deliberations. No more. We're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing rebukes and name-calling from both sides of the aisle, quite frankly. So what will really change the tone of the Senate? Jake Sherman is senior writer for Politico and co-author of Politico's Playbook, and Sarah Westwood is White House correspondent for the Washington Examiner. That's a big question. So let's reflect back a little bit on the last 24 hours. Jake, you say what you saw on the Senate floor overnight was an unforced error by Mitch McConnell, not Elizabeth Warren. Why do you believe that?
Well, I think that this was in the middle of the night, and it could have remained in the middle of the night if Republicans just let her talk and didn't stop her. I think Republicans now have an entire news cycle about Elizabeth Warren and her being quieted down and being told to sit down. Now, I think Republicans have a point, and Republicans would say that she was out of line and she was stepped over the boundary. But I imagine that McConnell's a very strong leader and a very savvy leader, so I imagine there was a movement behind the scenes to shut this talk down and to try to get Warren to quiet down. And I think McConnell is willing to take the bullet and do that. So I think that's what you saw. But instead of a narrative of Republicans moving through the cabinet and getting Donald Trump's cabinet confirmed, we're going to have 24 hours of talk about how Elizabeth Warren was told to sit down.
Well,
and it doesn't really make a difference either way. Jeff Sessions, by the end of tonight, no matter if Mitch McConnell did what he did or if he didn't, Jeff Sessions is going to be Attorney General by 7:30 tonight. So this is just a bump along the way.
You know, it's so interesting what you point out, and Sarah, I'd love your thoughts on this as well, because if perception is reality, to your point, Jake, it's just furthers the perception of dysfunction in government, which really doesn't serve anybody, quite frankly, including us, the public. Sarah, what do you think of Jake's take?
Well, obviously, it's clear that Republicans in the White House are growing increasingly frustrated with the pace of the confirmation process. Democrats don't have any real tools to block these nominees. All they have are delay tactics and their platform to speak out against the nominees, and they've been using those a lot. And they've used some extreme delay tactics to try to get the confirmation process stalled, and it's beginning to frustrate the White House and Senate Republicans. What's also making this process more bitter and more protracted than we've seen is that Democratic lawmakers are under extreme pressure from a very galvanized base to fight against President Trump's agenda. But there's no legislative battles brewing right now. So the only real outlet for Democratic resistance is in these confirmation fights. And so that's why you're seeing this be one of the most bitter and polarizing
That's an interesting point
cabinet
as well.
that we've seen.
It's the only thing they have to focus on. Very interesting point, Sarah.